HVAC 360, episode number 58. Xylem Bell Gossett. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of HVAC 360. I'm your host, Matt Nelson. This week is our final episode of the AHR Expo. I've got some cards of some other people. I'm gonna line up some interviews there, so we're probably gonna get some extended learning. But this is the last one from the show floor for this year, for 2013. I look forward to the next one. So, as we say goodbye to Dallas, Texas, we're going to be talking with Xylem Bell Gossett. Actually, Xylem is the parent company. Bell Gossett is probably the trade name that you have come to know and love and really appreciate. Bell Gossett does a great job. They are a great company, but enough of the accolades from me. You should be able to trust it for yourself. This week we have a little two-fer, a little special. Sometimes this happens when we get to the show and everything isn't quite lined up. We end up talking to one person, then end up talking to a second person. But I think that's only to your benefit. So it's a twofer for you. Enjoy. This week we're going to start off by talking with Tomas Ricon. He is really the kind of. It was described to me that the Series 80 sensorless pump really is his baby. That's what he knows and loves best. So we're going to talk to Tomas about the Series 80 sensorless pump, and really, if you want to get a visual, I don't know. I'm going to put a post on the show notes. If you go to buildingx.co and look at episode number 58, I'll show you what the Series 80 sensorless pump looks like. But essentially, it looks like a inline pump with a VFD slapped in front of it. So it's a very nice package, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to cut to Mark Handzel, who knows a little bit more about Bell Gossett. He's going to kind of give us an idea of who Bell Gossett is, what Xylem is, some of the new products that they're offering other than the sensorless pumps. And then we're going to talk a little bit about this Little Red Schoolhouse. So if you don't know about the Little Red Schoolhouse, you're going to have both Tomas and Mark will be touching on that. So without further ado, let's just cut to the tape and talk to Tomas Ricon. All right, we're on the floor of the AHR Expo here in Dallas, 2013. We're talking with Tomas Ricon. How you doing, Tomas?
Doing great.
So now we're at the Xylem booth, Bell Gossett. We are looking at, can you describe the pump that we're taking a look at here that you have on display?
We're featuring the Series 80 and 80SC sensorless pump configuration. It's a traditional vertical inline pump system with the variable frequency drive mounted to the motor in a nice compact, single function, single source solution for variable flow.
So when you buy the pump from the manufacturer, it comes all at one piece. There's no connecting it, or how does it ship?
So you bolt on the pump to the pipe, you put 3 phases of power, and you're done.
Excellent. So now, I guess, what's is it the application of putting the VFD on the pump, or is there something special about the pump itself? Have you made some modifications for this particular series, or this is the Series 80
sensorless pump? No, I think the technology innovation around this solution is its capability of controlling a secondary hydronic loop without relying on a wire transducer. It uses intimate knowledge of the pump hydraulics, what we know about our products, together with the algorithms of the variable frequency drive to emulate the sensor signal.
So you basically, it's your pump, you know what it does, and you know exactly if you're spinning at this rate, that's what you're going to get out of it.
That's exactly right.
Right. So now, is it what's the biggest application for it? You said it was in a secondary pumping system. Is that the biggest application for this type of pump?
Yes. The sensorless technology has some natural limits. So you need to have a closed-loop hydronic with relatively simple loads. When you begin to add more pumps, so more than one pump in the system, it's going to complicate things. And when you bring complex hydronic loads, air handling units in a spread-out installation, the sensorless algorithm is not going to work as effectively. So the system is actually capable of supporting system designs that are single pump, simple design with sensorless, or with wire transducers.
Okay, so that is it. Basically, you want continuous flow. You don't want a lot of pressure fluctuations,
right,
in the application for this. So, tell me about a little bit about what the maintenance is of this particular product. I mean, it seems pretty robust.
Well, the components have been in the marketplace for lots of years. The Technologic VFD platform's been our bellwether in the hydronic marketplace. The Tech 502, the latest generation, is reflective of over 10-year relationship we have with Danfoss. And of course, the Series 80 has been in its current form in the marketplace for well over 20 years. So both of them are proven. The innovation of actually mounting them is straightforward. That the drive is a robust unit. It's designed to handle the built-in vibration and thermal characteristics you're going to see mounting the VFD this close to a pump system.
Now, I mean, I've personally, seen, brand X pumps in a configuration like this. It wasn't as good as what I'm seeing now, in the sense that it was kind of a independent set it and forget it kind of mentality. This actually has what some people would commonly expect to see on a VFD drive. It actually has the keypad. It has all your information on there that you can cycle through that.
That's correct. We've paid a lot of attention to the user interface. And, our experience has shown us that interface is critical at the time of installation and configuration, when you're doing system balancing, and, of course, when the something goes wrong. And you need to understand what is the problem. So we've configured the product to be able to support those usage cases.
Now, what kind of sizes are we talking about here as far as the range goes? I mean,
we're going to go to 5x5, covering up to 40 horsepower in the Series 80. 6x6 by 11 on the Series SE, the split couple design. But our intention is by the end of the year to cover our entire hydraulic range.
Okay, excellent. So I guess what other special things about the SE sensorless pumps haven't we covered?
No, I think the exciting part for our marketplace and for our customers is that we've now given them one more tool. Bell & Gossett is the standard in system design. Our Little Red Schoolhouse has been educating generations of engineers and contractors. And we're excited to be able to expand that framework and give them the tools that they need. Sensorless technology is now one of them.
Excellent. It's another tool in the toolbox to make sure that you have a great application that you don't necessarily have to because obviously maintaining a pressure differential, you don't know if it's gone bad. You don't get a lot of maintenance on those type of products.
Right.
This is a way to just kind of know your pump, set it, and just be confident in the readings that you're getting.
You got it.
Now, as far as getting that information out to the building automation system, are we able to port all that data back from the VFD drive?
Oh, absolutely.
As far as like speed goes, and now obviously since you kind of know what the curve is, can you also kind of like port the GPM, like it's at right here,
That's correct.
On the GPM curve. So you can actually dial that in, saying, okay, we should be pumping this based on our curve.
The system's capable of controlling both to flow and pressure set points. And it's, of course, if it's controlling it, it knows its pressure and flow at any point in time. And it will report that up to the BMS protocols.
So you can actually get a GPM signal out of this.
Yes.
Without any flow meters or anything like that.
That's correct.
Okay, that's pretty substantial. And again, it's just one less thing that you have to maintain over the life of the product, and the VFD technology. Now, in looking at that, is that keypad replaceable? Is that
Sure. It's a standard component. If you need to replace it, it's readily available in the local distributor.
Okay, excellent. Anything else?
Well, just a thought. We
Sure.
were innovators and pioneers in teaching the marketplace what variable flow meant in terms of energy efficiency. We've been leading the marketplace in terms of broad range of variable flow control solutions, our line of controllers and our variable technologic VFDs. This is just the next natural step. Intelligent pumping is not about bringing in function, but delivering solutions to the marketplace.
Excellent. Now, you had mentioned the Little Red Schoolhouse, and if anybody doesn't know, if they have an opportunity to actually take advantage of that, that's actually an excellent learning opportunity for anybody who wants to learn more about pumps and pumping systems and things like that. So, what can you tell me about? Obviously you're not a representative of the Little Red Schoolhouse, but what is they offer classes continuously? Is it something that periodically? What sort of schedules do they have? I mean, would it be better just to check on the website to take a look at that?
The website's always a good place to start. We have a full curriculum. If you're out there just learning the bells and whistles of HVAC system design, it's a great place to start. We're going to teach you not so much just about pumping, but how to conceive the system. What are the design considerations, including variable flow. We've got a number of courses that go deep in the application of variable frequency drives.
Excellent. And if they wanted to learn more about this, the website is what?
www.completewatersystems.com.
Basically, we're looking at.
All right. Well, we'll put that in the show notes, so you don't have to necessarily remember that or write that down right now. But Tomas, thank you for your time.
It's a pleasure, Matt.
All right. Thank you. All right. Also from Bell Gossett, we got a chance to talk to Mark Handzel and about some of the other things that Bell Gossett has to offer. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. Good to see you today.
Hey, so tell us a little bit about let's step back a little bit. Xylem, Bell Gossett. What's the relationship there?
So Xylem's our parent corporation. The actual company was formed a little bit over a year ago, and Xylem's all about water. We handle water, and believe it or not, 20% of the world's energy is consumed by pumps. And so there's a lot of pumps out there, and Xylem is one of the largest manufacturers of pumps in the world.
And okay, so it's a parent company,
right?
For the show. What do you got new aside from we talked about the sensorless pump,
right?
The E80.
Okay, so a little background. It's kind of about Bell Gossett too. So Bell Gossett is our brand for the HVAC industry. Their forte is heating and cooling water and circulating it through buildings to heat or cool the environment. Why water? Water is the most efficient medium possible to transfer heat around a building. You could try doing it with air, but in a larger building you can't efficiently do it. So that's why you use water. So when you use water, you need pipes, you need pumps, you need valves, you need heat exchangers. We provide all those devices. And really, energy is what we're about because all those devices consume energy, so how do we save the owner as much energy as possible? So a lot of the technology that we're working on today focuses on how do we make pumps more efficient? How do we make them better match the needs of the system, reduce the speed of them, slow them down using variable speed? How do we come up with other ways to innovatively control where the energy goes in the system using balance valves? So those are just some quick things of what we're about.
Now, what do you have that's new and different for the show?
Okay, so you already heard about the sensorless. So that's obviously one type of variable speed system that's important. We've been selling variable speed for many years, but that's just another way to install variable speed. Clearly, probably some of the more important things that we're doing is that pump redesign. So we have several different models of pumps here at the show where we've redesigned the pump portion of it so that we have more efficiency out of it. So, pumps are a mechanical device. They lose energy. There's a certain amount of energy just from the law of physics that they lose. How do we minimize this as much as possible? So it's about a very consistent pattern and casing and design and optimizing that efficiency loss. So we could show you 3 or 4 different series of pumps that we're designing them to save energy.
Okay, so what are those 3 different types of pumps?
So the first one we have right here is a Series 90. It's a small inline pump. This past year we redesigned the impeller and the pump casing that the impeller sits in. Basically, again, maximizing the flow through the pump and making it more efficient. So that we now call it the E90 because it's efficient and it has industry-leading efficiency values. Okay. Another pump would be another one we have right behind us. It's the ESV. It's a multi-stage pump. It's actually a pump that we sell around the world. But again, industry-leading efficiency levels. When we put that E in front of it to us, that means we're industry-leading. Okay?
Mm-hmm. So now, I guess, the inline pump, I think pretty much everybody would be familiar on what to use that for. Obviously, when you have the vertical, the vertical multi-stage pump, what kind of applications are you looking at?
So the vertical multi-stage is typically a lower flow, higher head, puts out more pressure type pump. So it's going to be used like on boiler feed applications, could be used on car wash applications, any type of place where you're not necessarily looking for a lot of flow, but you need a lot of pressure. It's used in commercial buildings, for example. They have a higher working pressure than a typical pump, so they can handle boosting water from the basement of that building up to the 50th floor and higher if necessary.
All right. what other things do you got?
Well, some of the other new developments, we're a big provider of heat exchangers, and heat exchangers are important in an HVAC system because they help conserve energy. So we're introducing some new models of heat exchangers that basically we have types of heat exchangers that are easy to service, and we have types of heat exchangers that you just can't service at all. So we allow the owner or his representative to make a decision what type of heat exchange you want. So this is a large 3 and 4 inch brazed plate heat exchanger. Brazed means that we basically welded it together or heated it in an oven so it solders itself together. Mm-hmm. So it's a large floor model that we have here at the show just to show off the capability of that type of design.
Great, and that's, you braze it, so you're not taking it apart at all.
Nope, you're not taking it apart. You can't clean it. You can't service it. If you want to do those things, you can see there's a plate here on the wall. There's a stainless steel plate with a gasket around it. So that's the serviceable model.
Right.
Okay. So that one you could take it apart, clean the plates, put new gaskets on it, put it back together, and be good as new. And you could add capacity to it if you could add more plates to it. So that's the flexibility that it has.
Excellent.
What else? I got one more thing I'll probably tell you about.
All right, well, go ahead.
Balance valves. So in a hydronic system, you have to control where the hot water or the heating is going. And what I mean by control, suppose the boss's office is 3 times the size of his next assistant's office. Well, that office needs more flow to heat it or air condition it. So balance valves are the technology that you use to do that. So the balance valve industry is beginning to evolve from a basic manual valve that you turn a knob and set it and walk away and never touch it again for 30 years to devices that adjust based on the need of that room at that particular time. So there's all sorts of innovation developing pressure-independent control valves. We actually have developed an adjustable pressure-independent control valve, which is one of the only manufacturers in the market that has that type of device. So pressure-independent valves, they save the most energy of any type of balance valve, and that's why it's a lot of new technology focused on changing to pressure independence.
Okay, I'm going to ask the tough question. Why does it save the most energy?
Because it adjusts to the needs of the system. Okay, so it really is just a matter of that. Like I said, the manual valve, the way the old systems were installed, you set a certain flow rate, and nobody ever changed it. The valve wasn't smart enough to change itself. Where the pressure independent valve would fluctuate based on the needs of the system and what pressure is in the system. So it'll save energy, and if you have a variable speed pump, the pump would slow down because that valve is telling it, I don't need as much water.
So now does that take the place of a control valve that you might have in the system, or does it kind of...
It's really, the balance valves are used on small zones, okay? So you're still going to have plenty of control valves in it, and the building automation system controls where a lot of the water goes to, but these are really for small zones where you need a small valve just to control a small loop in the system. And they could be as small as a half a GPM is all you want to try to push through that system.
Now, as far as knowing some of the applications and learning some of that, obviously we talked a little bit about talked with Tomas about the Little Red Schoolhouse, which is kind of Bell Gossett's flagship.
Absolutely,
learning
absolutely.
Institute. What can you tell me about the Little Red Schoolhouse?
Well, that's a great question because I absolutely oversee the schoolhouse, so I can tell you a lot about it. So the schoolhouse was founded in 1954, and the premise that we started the schoolhouse under was, we don't teach people about our products, we teach them how to design systems. So we typically have 30 to 40 consulting engineers come to our facility in the northern suburbs of Chicago for a 3-day class every week. And we're teaching them how do you design a hydronic hot water system, how do you design a chilled water system. We conduct classes on steam, how do you design steam systems, how do you service water and steam systems. So we focus on teaching basic fundamentals of design rather than teaching them the features and benefits of our product. We use our sales guys to do that, and anybody could do that, but we want the people to know how to design the systems properly. Again, save energy, what's the most effective way to solve the problems of the owners, all those type of things. So
now what type of, because I know that it's not just, you don't just go to the Little Red Schoolhouse and you take 3 days of courses, or 3 days of courses. There's different levels.
Right, absolutely.
Learning.
So we have some basic level courses that really are like an introduction to the hydronic business, which is the use of water for heating and cooling. Mm-hmm. So typically someone out of college, for example, a new guy working for an engineering firm, he would start off by going to those basic level courses and building some basic understanding of how these systems work. What are you trying to do? What's the way to control the comfort? And then you'd get more complex and we get into larger systems, and we start teaching a lot of different ashtray design techniques regarding how do you conserve energy by using a plate heat exchanger outside for what's called waterside economizers during the winter. going all the way up into large chill water system design. Large chill water systems are a different type of animal because you've got a lot of water, you're trying to control where it goes, and you want to make sure that water gets warm before you send it back to the chiller to make sure you're getting maximum energy efficiency out of your chiller. So we teach the design fundamentals of how to make all those things happen. So definitely it's a progressive series of classes that you'd want to try to attend just to maximize your learning and give you an opportunity to apply some of what you learn as you do it. So we get a lot of repeat students. A lot of students come back to see us, mainly because it's educational, and we get a lot of interaction between the engineers. They discuss their problems. Other people learn from what other people have learned.
Now, what about getting hands-on? Is that part of what the schoolhouse teaches?
So the schoolhouse has a variety of system demonstrators. Some of the things I've been talking about today with you are demonstrated there. We have an operating variable speed system that we can teach the fundamentals of variable speed. We have an operating balance system, so we can show you what the importance of balance is. We can show you the different technologies of balance valves, how they work, what they do. A common piping practice is what's called primary-secondary pumping. We have a primary-secondary demonstration. So, and we actually have a system that is a live steam system. We can fire up a steam boiler, and actually people can see steam flowing through a system, through a glass heat exchanger and glass steam traps and other devices in the system. So, I won't say it's heavily hands-on, but it's heavily focused on demonstrative type learning so that you can understand not only the principle we're teaching you in the lecture, but also by showing you through the demonstration.
Right. No, and that's very helpful. Just being able to see what were you talking
Absolutely.
about in action, especially when you talk about a glass steam system. It's perfect. I mean, you're dealing with something that it's steam one instance, and then it's condensate, and where exactly that happens.
Exactly. You can see all that through these glass pipe systems. So it's really neat to see. A lot of people are fascinated by it because, like many things like these coming to a show, you get to see cutaway pumps. Guys who work in mechanical rooms all day, they only see those pumps when they take them apart to service them. So to be able to see a pump with its pump balloon half cut open, it's an incredible attraction grabber.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you talk about the people actually servicing the pumps, the engineers.
Right.
If they don't
exactly.
If they don't come to the expo, they don't see anything like that.
Right.
They never know what the inside guts. I mean, they kind of understand that, okay, there's an impeller and there's a pump casing, and you connect pumps to it, or pipes to it.
Exactly. One last thing I mentioned about the schoolhouse, Bell Gossett has a variety of system design tools available for consulting engineers. Some of them are web-based, some of them are apps that you could run on an iPhone or an Android device. So we make sure the engineers learn how to use those devices because they make them more effective in their work. These tools are available 24/7, 365 days a year, and they're almost a salesman assistance because our guy doesn't have to necessarily be available when the engineer has a question. He can find out a lot of the information through our software or through our apps.
Now, do you have like a selection? I mean, obviously you have different pipe sizing, selection sizing. What about pump selection?
Absolutely. So we have an online pump selection program that engineers, they do have to register for it, but just because we want to make sure that if we see them make a mistake, we can get a hold of them and say, hey, we want to double check this with you, make sure you're on the right track. But so online pump selection, you can actually do variable speed analysis to determine energy savings from putting a variable speed drive with your pump. We also have online selection of heat exchangers, so you could select plate heat exchangers online as well, and then there's a variety of system design tools that you can use as well on that same web-based system.
Excellent. Is there anything else that you have that you want to talk about the show?
Well, I think certainly part of coming to the schoolhouse is you get to take a plant tour. You get to see pumps being built. You can see them being tested. A lot of people enjoy seeing the way that we manufacture as well. So that's another part of coming to Chicago, going to Little Red Schoolhouse, and going on one of our classes.
So now, if they wanted to get more information about the Little Red Schoolhouse,
So you can go to Bell Gossett, www.bellgossett.com. That's our website, and there's a section in there on training on our schoolhouse. I'll just tell you, if you know who your local representative is for us, our local B&G rep, contact them. They can certainly help you in more information on the class schedule, when it's going, what you need to know about getting to the schoolhouse, and all those sort of details.
Okay, good. Right. It's nice to know who your reps are, so yeah. Go and pick up the phone.
Yep, absolutely. And one last plug, our website, bellgossett.com, it's a very informational-based website. So it's, any information, any literature, operation manuals, how do I service this, there's just a wealth of information available at our website.
Fantastic. All right, well, I appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for taking the time out.
Thank you.
All right, and we're back. thanks again thanks go out to Tomas and Mark for taking some of the time out of their schedule and talking with us at the AHR Expo. I think that's some of the great stuff out there. First things first, kind of Tomas, I kind of glanced over it when I was listening to the episode again. The replaceable keypad. Somebody might not necessarily be familiar with things that have changed in VFD over the years, but VFDs, they started out being really large. Large cases, large cabinets, standalone pieces of equipment. I mean, it's basically the size of could start off as the size of a coffin, but they've gotten a lot smaller over the years. But one of the neat kind of innovations, they used to kind of be an all integrated kind of piece. So if it burned out, it went down, you had to remove the entire this entire piece of equipment, then come back to it and set it up again. But what they have nowadays, and I see that more and more often on more manufacturers, is just kind of have all the brains kind of on this little. It's almost like a deck of cards with the little the keypad and the display on it, which basically snaps into the VFD. So most of the stuff that would ever fry or go bad in a VFD is actually on that little keypad. So if you ever had something go down, you wouldn't necessarily have to get electrician in there, unmount the old one, remount the new one. You could always keep just a spare display on, crack it in there, put it back into the VFD, the case. Maybe you have to reprogram it, but at least you can get up and running pretty quickly if you had a spare one of these interfaces. So that's kind of what I talk about when I have a replaceable keypad, one of those keypads, when I talk to Tomas. So obviously, I'm gonna put. There's gonna be a ton of stuff on the website. Go to buildingx.co. Everything from the Little Red Schoolhouse to some of the sites that we talked about, the apps, the selection tools, pipe sizing, Bell and Gossett, links to that site. Pretty much just everything soup to nuts. So there's a lot of good information on this episode. And I think that just more and more that you can learn from the site. If some of you can't necessarily get to the Little Red Schoolhouse. Obviously, I would encourage you, anybody who has a chance, to do so. I told that on the website or in the interview. But if you can't, obviously they have some things that are going on, and hopefully, maybe best intentions. Those are some of the things that I can cover on Building X. Get on the website and maybe teach you a little bit more about the different types of systems and things like that. So, grandiose plans. Let's hope they turn out. But let's keep this thing going. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate you, the top 3%. Please get more people into the club for the episode if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, let me know what didn't kind of gel with you, what didn't click, what you didn't like. Some things, some topics that you might like more. If you like the episodes from the AHR Expo, if you don't like the episodes from the AHR Expo, why you don't like that. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. That's something that really gives me an idea of where you'd like to steer HVAC 360. I really do this for you, and I want to be able to share all my experiences with you out there. And again, I really appreciate it. Other things you can do for me besides passing this on, go give me a comment or a recommendation on the iTunes website. A lot of you get it through there, whether it be your iPhones, iPads. Listen to me on the move. I greatly appreciate it. So you can do that. Email me, matt@buildingx.co, as usual. Twitter, @buildingx, and Matt Nelson PE on LinkedIn if you'd like to connect with me. So that's pretty much it. Thanks again. Go visit the website. Lots of information on this one in particular. I will also place the cutaways. I almost missed that. Also place the pictures I got of the cutaways from the show on the website. Those are some great things. I mean, you talk about really getting to see the nitty-gritty of these pipes, or these pumps rather, and they do a beautiful job on these cutaways. So they're great to take a look at, and I will post those on the website as well. So until next time, thanks for listening, and remember, know what you build, and share what you know.